I am now joined by the newest Chicago Sky head coach in Teresa Weatherspoon. Welcome to the Windy City and welcome to Chicago. First off, just what's your first impressions of being here in the city?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. It's just I'm just trying to soak all of this in and soak in all the excitement from everybody that's been in this surrounding today. Just soaking it all in and going to take that excitement, that enthusiasm, and roll with it.
Yeah, we heard about your electric energy earlier in your press conference today. I mean, Ka described you as electric, but how would you describe the energy that you want to bring to the team this year?
That's basically me. It's energy that I don't try to control, because that type of energy, the positive vibe from it all, it becomes contagious. It also lets any and everybody knows that there's a level of excitement that lives in me, and I want the world to know and to feel what I feel, and that's why I've always played the game. That's the way I coach the game. That's the way I approach the game.
When you look at what you've done in your 30-plus years of basketball experience, we've seen a lot of defensive mindedness and defensive focus out of you, and that was kind of the identity of the Sky last season. Is that something that you want to kind of build on this season, or are you wanting to kind of reshape and create a brand new identity for the 2024 season?
Well, that's key, is creating our own identity. It's fresh, it's new, and you want that buy-in. And of course, we want to hang our hats on the defensive side of the ball. There's a lot of work to be done on that end, when you want to hang your hat there. This team is so gifted. We have some incredible pieces that can do so many things, and there won't be boxes. We don't want to have limitations, but we want to do it our way and do it the right way. And to know that everybody's role is important to the success of this team. And I think that's what I think about a lot, more than anything, of how do we bring all of that together and create the team that we want to create to sustain some success. It's not about just the moment, it's about keeping it, having people to talk about it, want to be a part of it because of the fun that they have while they're playing, the togetherness that they have, the trust. It's all of those things that we want our culture to be. And once we find that identity, we roll with that identity and we go from there.
Yeah, when you look at this roster, you only have 5 or 6 returning on contract. But what do you see out of the roster that really excites you? Elizabeth Williams just won the Sportsmanship Award that was announced earlier this week, and also you have your Finals MVP in Kalia Copper. You have Dana Evans who's starting to get into there. What are just your first impressions when you look at who you have returning on the roster?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because that's the foundation of what you see you have coming back. And you build off of that. You build off of what you see, because what I see is a lot of positivity in the gifts that we have. I mean, some many different ways that they can bring greatness to the floor. It's not just one way. They bring so many different ways of being an assassin, and that's what you look for. And then you look for the pieces to add to that, and to the culture that we're building. That's important. You're looking for people that fits your culture. You don't have your culture to fit the people. Who fits the culture, and then what does it look like with the players that you have and the success that you see from it. Now, you can have it on paper, and it can look great on paper, but then it's bringing it together, what it looks like. Oh man, this really looks good. But it's up to us as a staff that I have to build as well, to make it happen, to make it fit, and to get the buy-in.
Yeah, let's talk about the coaching staff. That's something that you said that you want to really look into and take your time and make sure that you're bringing on the right people. What are some of those, big factors that you want to see in your coaching staff, if you had to give a couple, traits that you want to see come over?
I think everybody would go and say, you want to find someone that who's great with the X's and the O's. Absolutely. Got to find that trustworthy person. Absolutely. I also want to find people who know the league, who knows our players, who knows agents, who knows the surrounding, and they live for it. Because that's a big connection. That's a big connection piece, and all the other things we're going to look for. But that's something that I look for in a coach as well.
And then, you got hired before your own boss gets hired in the general manager. I'm not going to ask you who you want in that role, but what are some traits that you want to see in the GM role that can help you construct the roster and the winning roster that you want to have?
Yeah, you just want your vision to connect. You want your ideas to be, it doesn't have to be the same, but we come up with solutions that's best for the team. Not best for you, not best for me, but what's best for the team, what's best for the young ladies that we have, and how that fit is going to work, and what it's going to look like, and how we are going to sustain success. And that's the piece, because what you want is, once we begin to play, find that identity, and we stick with it, and our culture is unbelievable. We have these standards about ourselves that we stand on. Then you want everybody to start to talk about you. I like how they play. I like how they look. I want to be a part of that. That's what you want to hear. You want to hear people wanting to be a part of what you do. And that's the key. And it's critical.
When you look at the culture that, Kalia Copper started to help build when she came to the team, and what was your first impression of the culture of what Sky basketball is, and what she's done so far in her 4 or 5+ years that she's been here to help create the culture here within the Sky?
Well, she's done a heck of a job of growing. She's had some tremendous leaders in front of her that she has an opportunity to learn from. And then once they moved on in their careers, now it was her turn. And it was a load that was put on her, and I thought that she did a heck of a job with becoming that leader. When it hits your shoulders, now it's your turn. Everybody's looking at you, and I thought she did a heck of a job. Now my job is to come in and be helpful to her, to help her to lead, to guide, to understand what the culture is, and we stand on the culture. And you want that from your leader. You want your leader to be that extension of you, to be the extension of your culture, to be the extension of what you want to happen for your team. And she has that. A very intelligent young lady, knows way more than what most people ever even know about her. So I want that to be known. I believe, since I was a player, I believe that it's important when coaches have ideas and thoughts. When I speak about allowing your players to have a credible voice, you want to hear that. You want to run things by them. I want to hear what you think. But they know at the end of the day, I'm going to hear you. And then at the end of the day, I'll think about it now, and it'll be that final decision will come from me. But I'm going to hear you. Their voices are credible.
Yeah, you want to just kind of.
I want to know.
Yeah,
I want to know what you feel, because it's important. They play the game. They play the game. They have a feel for the game. They have a feel for who they're playing with. So why not listen? Listen. That's what's going to make you a better coach. It's what's going to make me a better coach. And for that, it's going to help me make them a better player.
And with you, with your playing career, you were one of the original WNBA players that played. You were part of, the Liberty, had the shot that everyone knows about. When you look back on what the WNBA was when you came in and what the WNBA is now, what are some things that you really want to either take from your playing time when the WNBA was started and apply to now, or is it kind of a completely different league and you need to approach it in a different way?
I'll only share what we did when I played when necessary. We're moving in another direction. We're moving in the direction of how this game has evolved and who I have in that foxhole. That's how we're evolving, that's how we're moving. I want everything to circle around who they are and how do we build from there. How do we build from there? Because in the end of the day, it's about how do we put them in positions to be successful. You'll hear that across the board, but it's about how do you put them in those positions to be successful. What we do, the resources we bring, the knowledge that we bring to them every single day, the energy when we step between those four lines. Everybody talk about the environment. When you step into the arena as their coach or to the practice facility as their coaches, you are the environment. When they step into there, they are the environment. So when you walk in as media, you feel the environment. You feel it. You want to be a part of it. That's what we want. That's how we want to carry ourselves.
We heard a lot in your introductory press conferences, gear up, get ready for this season. What is it that fans need to gear up for, and what can they expect out of your team this year?
Gearing up means a lot. It means a lot for all of us. When you think about our players and you say gear up, you see them putting on their uniform, putting on their shoes. You see them just gearing up, putting on their gear, which is fine. But it all starts with the mental approach. It's the mindset. It's how we carry ourselves. It's how we talk. It's how we walk. It's gearing up. No cracks in the armor. And it goes from us to front office, to ticket sales, to marketing, to media, to everybody involved. Gear up. And gearing up is bringing your best self. With everything in you, you bring all your energy. You bring all of your effort. You gear up. You don't leave anything behind. Gear up. Don't be left behind, because we're gearing up. We're gearing up to take over.
It seems like it's also been gearing up as a collaborative effort, not just, from players and coaches, but the front office, sales, tickets. What does that mean to you to not just, sometimes you see in teams that it's just like, here's the team, here's the office, but for this to be a very collaborative effort.
Yeah.
Was that important to you in making your decision to come here? And how is that such an impactful thing to have in the WNBA as it continues to grow?
Well, I talk about relationships all the time. I talk about connections all the time. So you have to be connected. Of course, we're the players. Of course, they're going to be between the four lines. But there cannot be a connection from player to coach, coach to front office on. It cannot. It has to have that trickle-down effect where we're all connected and we're all gearing up. Every one of us are gearing up. So what does that tell everyone? It tells everybody that we are all on the same page. We are all fighting for that one common goal. As all of us are in this, and it's that one common goal, and all of us are fighting for it in the way that we do it, because we've created the identity of who we are, because we gear up.
Yeah.
We're all fighting for that one common goal. So you can't help but to be successful. You can't help but to be successful if everybody gears up, leaving nothing behind, and we leave nobody behind. We gear up together, we fight together, we freaking win together, and we stay in this thing together.
You got me excited just to get laced up and join your squad right now, Coach. I'm ready for it. But I got a few more questions for you. We talked about the NBA experience in your press conference, and we've seen how that's translated with Becky Hammon with the Spurs and then coming over into a head coaching position. And when I spoke to a couple players, what they really enjoyed about what Becky was bringing from the NBA is that you see a lot more one-on-one. There's a little bit more freedom in what players can do in one-on-one variations. Is that something that you learned is the difference between the NBA and the WNBA? And is that something that you want to kind of bring in and let your guards specifically kind of have their moment to, if they want to just go one-on-one and drive in the paint, let them go and do it?
Well, the games can sometimes boil down to who can get their own. Who can get their own? It can boil down to that. But what you want to stay in and a part of is being able to play together. And if I do start to get my own, I get my own knowing that if I draw, I find. That's still team basketball.
Right.
That's still team basketball. So if that happens, I'm okay with it as long as it stays team. As long as it's not me, but it's a we. If it's a me dribble, I know we're in trouble. But it is a we dribble, and we dribble can make it a me.
And that's something that we've really kind of seen develop in the WNBA. I'd probably say in the last couple of years. We saw it with the Aces this year.
Yes.
Is that something that you really want to see the WNBA kind of, I don't want to say adopt, but embrace a little bit more as the W is starting to grow and we're seeing the viewership go up? And is that something that you want to see, or are there still some cores of what the WNBA is and having a lot more, position basketball instead of positionless basketball?
The one thing that I would always teach, and I would teach every player, that you are a player. You are not a position. You are a player. And when you get them to think player, all the other things come along with it. All the other little things come along with it. But it also, what is helpful in getting them to know that you are a player, it's also what you do in your player development, of how do you develop them to know that they are a player. They are a player. Don't think position, think player. And that's a different mindset. That's a whole different mindset, because when you think position, you think just that position. Yeah. But if I think player, I think all positions. So therefore, I understand every position, and I'm able to play every position. Maybe not as great as that one player, but in the moment, I'm able to handle that position in the moment. So it's about being a player and not just a position player.
Taking a step back from just what this team is, but Chicago is what some people would call as a mecca of basketball. There's been some top talent that's come out of here, Candace Parker being one of them. Yeah. And then if you look at the NBA side, Derrick Rose and people from everything else. And you've talked about getting into the community here in Chicago and having the outreach. What are some things that you want to do to try and have that outreach with the women's basketball programs that are here that have created some of the top talent that have been into the WNBA?
Well, it's important that you do get out in the community. I mean, I'm going to stress that all day long. It's an important piece to your success because I want people to see our players not only as players. I want them to see them as people. I want them to hear their stories. I want them to know what the story was like for them to be where they are. Now that story could resonate with someone that's been sitting there wondering how they're going to make it, and you just gave them hope. Just something that small. But when it comes to all the other amazing programs here, sports, it's amazing what goes on here. But the connection with everybody, supporting everyone. I don't need to compete with the Bulls. You're the Bulls, we're the Sky. But what we can do is support you, you support us, because we're in this city together. We're in here to take over this city together. We're in here to let people know what sports mean to this city and how great things can be if we connect, support one another in what we're trying to accomplish for the city.
I got one last thing. Is there anything that you want Sky fans to know about you and what you want to bring to this team and to this city that we have not already discussed?
I just want everyone to know I care. I just want everyone to know that I care. You can Google what you want. You can see whatever I've done, and that's fine. But I want you to know that this person cares, that I care, and I'm going to give my all in everything that I do. And everything that I earn or get, I'm going to earn it. Do what I got to do to earn it.
Thank you so much for chatting with me today, Coach, and I'm excited to see what you can do for the 2024 season. We're ready for it. Are you ready for your first home opener as well?
Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Ready to roll.
There we go. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you.